An interim order was issued restraining 49 MPs, including Mahinda Rajapaksa and those named as cabinet ministers, state ministers and deputy ministers from functioning in their respective public offices. This order was issued when the writ of quo warranto filed by 122 petitioners who are members of Parliament was taken up before the Court of Appeal today.
Court also issued notices on the respondents, directing them to show by what authority they claim to function in public office as Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, non-Cabinet Ministers and Deputy Ministers. The petitioners in their petition had pointed out that a no-confidence motion had been passed in Parliament twice and that the respondents had usurped public office, namely the positions of Prime Minister, Cabinet of Ministers and other ministers. Court said that it considered the submissions made by the President's Council appearing on behalf of the respondents that if interim relief was granted, it would result in the country having no Prime Minister, Cabinet or other ministers. On the other hand, Court had also considered the submissions of President's Council appearing on behalf of the petitioners, who pointed out that grave damage would be caused if interim relief was not granted. Court held that what the petitioners have requested is not to restrain the functioning of the Prime Minister or the Cabinet, but to restrain the respondents from functioning in those capacities, which is directed at the individual respondents to restrain them from functioning in the relevant public offices. Delivering the order, Court of Appeal President Justice Padman Surasena also held that as to whom should function in those offices is not a matter for the Court of Appeal, but for those with such power under the Constitution. The order also says that the court is mindful of the damage that would be caused if the court, having granted interim relief to restrain the respondents from functioning in their public offices, then proceed to subsequently dismiss the application, refusing to issue the remedies sought by the petitioners. The case will be called once again on the 12th of December.
Following the adoption of the no-confidence motion in Parliament, Mahinda Rajapaksa and the other ministers retained power illegally as the illegal Prime Minister and Cabinet under Article 48(2) of the Constitution. The Court of Appeal issued an interim injunction against them today. As of this moment, Mahinda Rajapaksa and his illegal Cabinet cannot even place a signature. I believe that if there is any shame, the President will act today to resolve this problem. As we expected, the court issued notice on the respondents, but we did not expect the interim injunction issued by court constraining the Prime Minister and Cabinet from functioning. In truth, we are surprised at the decision made by the court, since we put forward evidence that this was based on false documentation. We respect the decision of the court, but we do not agree with it.
Mahinda Rajapaksa has announced that he does not agree with the interim order issued by the Court of Appeal today and that an appeal against the order will be submitted to the Supreme Court tomorrow morning.
Issuing a statement this evening, Mahinda Rajapaksa noted that it is the Supreme Court that exercises final power in constitutional interpretation and taking relevant decisions. Rajapaksa added that they remain committed to the movement to hold a parliamentary election in order to restore political stability.